I love this topic, this idea. I even wrote it down that when there's turmoil and chaos around you, you need to be better at managing yourself.
Yes.
And this sort of emotional side of striving. And there have been many years in my life where I have been very, very, very busy and I've gotten a lot of stuff done, but I have felt one decision away from needing to literally check myself in somewhere because I was about to break down mentally, emotionally, physically.
Mm.
And for people that like you and me that are really interested in achieving and making an impact, you can get yourself so busy and so overworked that you're not present and you're not in control of what you're doing, and you're sure as heck are not enjoying it. And we've already done a lot of training about productivity. And productivity, in my mind, are all the things that you do, right? It's like about getting the important stuff done. And there are lots of things that I know that you know, based on the research, have a demonstrated impact on your ability to focus. Things like getting a better night's sleep, exercising and moving your body every day, removing distractions, having a really empowering morning routine that sets you up in a way that allows your day to end up being focused on the things that you care about for at least an important amount of time. Now, those are all things that if you feel like you're losing control, that you should go back to, because those are the basics: removing distractions, doubling down on your morning routine and how you set your day up so that how your day ends up is something that you're proud of, exercising and moving your body, even if it's just getting up in the middle of the day and walking around the block for 10 minutes, and sleep. All things that have a huge difference, make a huge difference on productivity. I want to talk about the bigger things. I want to talk about the stuff from a mind, body, spirit level that not only will help you be more productive, which in my mind, being productive means that you are making progress on things that matter. See, to me, productivity isn't about being busy. You're not going to go to your grave and wish that somebody wrote on it, boy, could he or she get through a to-do list? Like being busy, racing around, getting a ton of unimportant things done, feeling distracted and reactive, that's not the game that you want to play. Being productive, in my mind, means being so focused and confident and in control and connected to yourself that you are able to make progress on the things that matter to you, that you are able to stay focused and confident and connected to your values when the game starts to change, when life gets chaotic. This type of productivity isn't outside of you in terms of the things that you do. It's about building tools within yourself so that you can come back into your own power when life gets tumultuous or chaotic or uncertain, or when the things you've been working on don't work out. We're going to start with a tool and a habit that I call high-fiving your heart. And there's a particular reason why we're going to start with this tool. And I want you to make this a daily habit. And I'm going to explain how you do it. I'm going to explain the science. I'm going to teach you why this is essential for you to be doing every day in order to maintain focus, in order to maintain connection with yourself, and in order to build what I call body confidence. Body confidence is feeling comfortable in your own skin. Body confidence is being able to root yourself and ground yourself in your own body when life tries to hijack you. This has nothing to do with your appearance. This has to do with what it feels like to be you living your life. So high-fiving your heart is very, very simple. And first thing that I'm going to do is explain why you need to do this, okay? The reason why you need to start incorporating a high five to your heart into your day-to-day life is because research from Dr. Judy Willis, who is one of the world's leading neuroscientists. She was with UCLA for a long time, tons of research studies. Her research proves that it is impossible for your brain to effectively focus when your nervous system is on edge. It is impossible, I'm going to say it again, for your brain to effectively focus when your nervous system is on edge. And the reason why you've got to learn how to high five your heart is because it is a science-backed tool that will switch you from a state where what's called your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system, you have two nervous systems in your body. Your sympathetic nervous system is the nervous system that is activated when you're feeling anxious, when you're on edge, when your heart is racing, when you feel like the next shoe's about to drop, when you watch the news. Psychologists call it a dysregulated nervous system. And the fact of the matter is, I do not need to be a medical doctor to tell you, right now, you have a dysregulated nervous system. It would be impossible for you to have survived the last 18 months and the world that we've been living in and not wake up and feel on edge and not wake up and feel like something else is about to happen, because something else always is. Are we wearing masks? Are we not wearing masks? Are the kids going back to school? Or are they not going back to school? Are we going to the office? Or are we not going to the office? Like, everything is changing, which puts your nervous system in a state where it's waiting for something to happen. Now, when you're in that state, it's very hard for you to change behavior. It's very hard for you to learn new things, anything. It's very hard for you to do creative work. It's very hard for you to be productive and focused and calm. And so I'm going to teach you this incredible tool that you can use at any moment when you start to feel the stress level rise. And it could be any moment. You could be texting a friend and you see the 3 dots coming up and you feel the wave. You could have just sent an email and it's a really big pitch and it's somebody you admire and you're like, oh, are they going to write back? And you feel the stress come up. It could be any moment. You could be on a plane and they say, we're going to have an emergency landing, which is a true story in one of these books. And you can feel your nervous system brace. Anytime you feel on edge, you can use the high five to the heart to activate science, to get you grounded back in your body and to flip on what's called your parasympathetic nervous system. Your parasympathetic nervous system is your calm and your cool nervous system. And this is the nervous system that you need in order to feel a calm, striving sense of productivity. If you want to feel in control, this is the fastest way to do it. And here's how you do it. We're going to do it together. This is not like something that you're going to observe. We're doing this together. Put your hand on the heart, or I've got big mitts. So I put my hands kind of right here because then it touches my heart. Now, when you put your hands here and press against your chest, what you're going to do is you're going to be stimulating what's called your vagus nerve. When you high five your heart, we're going to do it together, and then I'm going to explain the science of what's happening. First of all, we're going to take a deep breath together, okay? So here we go. Then you're going to repeat 3 sentences to yourself while you hold your hands against your heart. You're going to say, I'm going to say it and pause so then you can say it. Here we go. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. And what's going to happen is you're going to repeat that to yourself. You can say it out loud. You can say it to yourself. You can think it. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm loved. And there may be some mornings that you do this 53 times. There'll be some mornings that you do it once. If you can say those 3 sentences, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved, while your hands are right here, you want to know what? It's true. In this moment, despite the fact that there's all kinds of stuff going down and your nervous system is on edge, you are safe, you are okay, and you are loved. And you're actually demonstrating that to yourself, and your brain sees it.
People in productivity always ask the first question. They say, well, Brendon, how do I evaluate things? Because I'm a productive person, but you know what happens to me is I keep getting distracted, or I keep I don't know which one to do. I've got 2 good options. I'm not sure which one to do. I'll share with you my shorthand. I got 2 frameworks that help me every single time. They're like back and napkins things I can do that really help me decide between 2 different things, because I get offers all the time, as you can imagine. I'm like, it can be overwhelming. And so here's how I do it. Future value plus L. Oh, yeah, plus PD. Okay. This is my magical shorthand that helps me so much. The terms of any deal has to be less than ROI plus FV plus L plus PD. Okay, next up. Just check it if you're here. It's a super simple one. Okay, I got option A or option B. I'm gonna run them both through this equation, and whichever one wins is the one I'm most likely to choose. And if they're really close, I'll run them through the second framework I'm gonna show you. So the first one is easy. Time, energy, resources, money. This means the terms of any deal have to be less than. So in other words, what I put into something, whatever I put into something has to be less than what I think I'm gonna get out. How many follow? Very utilitarian, right? Very utilitarian value here. If I'm gonna put a bunch of stuff in, I better get more out, okay? And what I found is if I have a deal and I'm gonna put a bunch of time into it, or energy, or resources, or money, I better get more out of it. But what my magical thing was the S. This is the one no one ever thinks about, and everyone screws up, and they make a lot of decisions. A lot of utilitarian-minded people, very logical, strategic people, make decisions based on time, energy, resources, money, and they forgot the S in the equation, and you have too. Think about every bad decision you ever chose versus something else. You said, I wish I wouldn't have done that. You just did not consider this thing called sanity. How much time, energy, resources, money, and sanity am I gonna have to put into this thing? And I really gotta think about that, because how many of you ever did a deal with something where it literally, you had to work with someone who drove you insane? Great money, great output, but the input of my own sanity, it would have driven me crazy. Entrepreneurs make this mistake especially all the time. You don't think about how much craziness is gonna go into something. You just get attracted to the time, energy, resources, money. You're not thinking about the lifestyle or the community or other things that could really shape how sane it is, right? That's one thing I'm proud about with what we do with CHPC, is like, we make this a very sane, calming, comforting community. We step by step it. It's not scary, because I think a lot of other people, it's just easy to get attracted to things that drive you insane. And I think it's important for you all to care about your sane so you can bring the joy. Yes, okay. So whatever time, energy, resource, money, and sanity I put into something has to be, this is less than sign. I learned that in math once. Has to be less than what I get out of it in terms of ROI. You know what that means? Return on investment. So this is a straight 1-to-1. Whatever I put into it, I better get that out in investment. I better get that out. It better save me some time, build my energy, build my resources or my money, or I don't want to do it. That's straight up return on investment. And then FV is where most people fail to have strategy. FV stands for future value. Never do anything just for ROI. This is where they wreck kids in business school. They wreck them because we're still teaching straight up balance sheet mentality in the world. That's why our relationships are wrecked, because we're trying to have a balance sheet scorecard with our spouse. We're trying to equate things out with our spouses. How's that working for you? And so we start ruining our relationships because we are trying to get that balance sheet just even. And in real life, we want future value built into deals. I want you, if you're gonna do something, I want you to be able to look out and say, wow, that's gonna benefit me in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. Like I can see how that piece right now, that's gonna be a building block that's gonna serve me later on. And if you can't see that, whatever deal you're doing as a stepping stone, don't do the deal. And especially don't get trapped in the idea of thinking whatever deal you're gonna do is a final stepping stone. Because a lot of people, especially when you're starting, you're like, that deal will change my life. That's it. That's all I need. I'll be good for life. That means your short-term survival thinking, not strategic growth thinking. When you start thinking about future value, you make very different decisions. Very, very different decisions. It makes you write different books. It makes you build different programs. It changes the way you sell. It changes the products that you build in your company. You gotta go back to future value thinking, including every little thing that you do. If you hire people, don't hire people to fill in a short-term need. Hire future value players. Can I get an amen on a Sunday? Right? Don't go out with somebody just because they're just there. Date future value people. Don't have short-term friends just because you need to lean on somebody who's a complainer. Create friendships with future value people. Your job is to always be honoring and protecting and standing at the gates as guard and champion of your future. Everyone raise your right hand, say, my future matters. My future matters. So I have to be strategic. So I have to be strategic. The way to be productive is to be more strategic. The way to be productive is to do the things that add future value. You got to look past the short term, go for the long-term plays, and the long-term value will change your life. Then if entrepreneurs typically suck at sanity in their evaluations, then on the other side, they always fail on the big L. Lifestyle. They'll take the deal because it's good time. It's energy. It's making a lot of money. It's not too crazy. It's not too crazy. I can handle it, but they're not thinking on the other side, boy, if I say yes to that, that means I'm gonna be working 20 more hours a week. Who's ever said yes to something that made you work 20 or 30 or 40 more hours a week and you didn't anticipate it? Yeah, I've been there too. And listen, is that related to your productivity, yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah. When you make decisions and you're not looking at the future value or thinking lifestyle, no wonder your short-term productivity is wrecked. Because you said yes or jumped into something that wasn't your thing. It wasn't of your character. It wasn't who you are. It wasn't the lifestyle you wanted to be. It wasn't who you wanted to become. And that's because you didn't take into account personal development either. You can't keep saying yes or keep evaluating things in like, well, that sounds good. Just because it's good, does it serve who you want to become?
One thing about productivity, I started to realize this with a lot of people. Why is it that we only work hard when we're being rewarded for it? Think about the last time you really put your mind towards something. You really dedicated yourself to a goal. You really were like, I'm ready to be productive at this. Because there was probably a reward or there was some type of positive reinforcement on the other side. That is bad. Dr. Dooney, I see you nodding. That is bad. And I have an example. In the past, I remember I would have these group of students that I would lead and teach. And I was like, why aren't they motivated? Why don't they want to be better? Why don't they want to be educators? Like, why do I have to constantly push and tell them you got this, you got this, you got this? And then I was like, okay, what if I put prizes at the end? And so at the end, I picked the top 5 students in the class. And you know what happened? Instead of those 5 students being praised for their work, all of the other students were like, wait, I didn't know there was a prize. Glow, that's not fair. You didn't tell us that there was something to win. I was like, I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to. If you are only wanting to work hard because there's a reward at the end of it for you, check your heart, check your mission, check your goals, check your alignment, check your intention. It was so telling that people were like, I'm willing to work if I know that I will get something out of it. Here's the thing, you can't cheat life. Like, I might be rewarding you with something, but life rewards the people who are willing to put in the work, to do the hard things, to show up consistently, to have balance in their life, maintain integrity with everything that they do. And what I love about this new era and this new age, I'm currently reading a book called Halftime by Bob Buford. And what it talks about is that people no longer want to work until retirement and then just sleep until they die. Like, maybe a few years ago, that sounded like the dream. Like, you just want to get to retirement age and then you're just a log until death. Like, it sounds appealing for a couple minutes, but it's like, people want to do meaningful work until they die. And doing meaningful work is a lifetime commitment to productivity and figuring out ways to develop habits, to maintain your own alignment and maintain intention in everything that you do. So 10 things that have helped me be more productive. Make sure your journals are out. And like Brendon said, I'm someone who I feel like I've lived 6 lives, maybe 7 lives. You all might know about 2 of them, but quick context, I've been to almost 90 countries. I'm currently in country number 89, Turks and Caicos, and I have a goal to travel every country in the world. I'm not in a rush. There are people that have beat Guinness records. I actually have friends who have been to every country in the world and they try to do it at a certain age. For me, I just like it as a lifelong pursuit. It keeps me hungry. It keeps me eager. It keeps me as a student. And I just love that there's an opportunity, especially living in a virtual age, that you can work and live anywhere in the world. So being a world traveler, being a travel blogger, sometimes my brand deals were a little bit slow. So I had to get creative with how I would make money. And one of my students, one time I was teaching English in Spain, and one of my English students that I was tutoring, her dad overheard that I played college basketball. And he said, oh my gosh, actually my neighbor is a coach of a semi-pro team here in Spain. Like, are you curious? And I was like, I hadn't played in a couple of years. I was, a little bit out of shape, but I said, sure. And so I went to my neighbor. I borrowed his basketball shoes that were 3 sizes too big. It was like a 12.5. I wear a 9. But I tied it up really tight. And I was like, I'm going to make this work. And I remember showing up to tryouts like, this is terrifying. It was in Barcelona, or if you're Spanish, Barcelona. And going there in Catalonia, they don't even speak Spanish. They speak Catalan. So all of my Spanish lessons can kind of like go down the drain because I was there to speak Catalan with my teammates. Long story short, I try out, I push it, I give it my all. They sign me on the spot. So now I am an official semi-pro basketball player in Spain. La Liga Femenina 2 is where I played, and it was incredible. And when I think about that, the coach pulled me aside. He said, all right, vamos, Gloria, bueno, no. He's like, you're great, we love you, but I have to be honest, you're out of shape. I was about 40 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was like, it wasn't something that I didn't know. Like, I had known it. I was having siestas on the beach. I was eating anything I wanted. I was enjoying the travel life, and I was young. So when you told me that I had weight to lose and that I needed to get back in basketball shape, instead of take it as like a trigger, because again, when we know that we've failed in an area of our life, someone calling it out isn't meant to attack us. It's meant to remind us that I know you're better than this. I know you can do better than this. Over the next 5 months, I lost the 40 pounds. The next 5 months, you know how I did it? I made sure every night I gave myself a 3 to 4 hour window. Before I went to bed, I would not eat. And my dinner was fruits. I was like, I want to make sure if I'm going to bed and I'm laying with food in my stomach, I want it to be something that's nourishing. So I made sure I ate fruits for dinner. And then during the day, drinking a lot of water, staying active, running a mile 5 times a week. Did that very consistently for 4 months, and eventually the weight dropped. But something like that, I was like, when someone gives me a mission, I don't know if you're the kind of person that rises to the occasion or takes offense and sulks. If someone is telling you that, you can do bigger things in life, you were meant to do this, I see this in you, Are you going to take that as like, oh, well, I kind of see it too, or are you going to rise to the occasion? So many times in my life, travel blogging, semi-pro basketball, wedding photographer, in every area, in every season, I've had to rise to the occasion, not being comfortable with where I was at, but knowing that I can improve. So tool number one, use Toggl, Toggl. Use Toggl to track how much time you are spending on an activity. It's an app, and you can also download the Google Chrome plugin for your desktop. But it's crazy because I remember Prince EA said this quote just a couple of weeks ago, or last week at Napa Valley with Brendon's mastermind. But he said, if you want to crack it, you got to track it. And I was like, that's why I love Toggl so much. Toggl allows me to see where I'm wasting time, where I'm spending too much time, and what could be delegated. A lot of us are spending useless hours on things that aren't moving the needle, things that aren't even making sense for the place in our business that we're at. So use Toggl, and then only allow yourself to work 45 minutes to 60 minutes at a time. After an hour, you're useless. I know Brendon goes by this thinking as well. Your brain can't work on the same thing for too long of a time. So give yourself, even if it's a 2-minute break, if it's a 5-minute break, if it's a 10-minute break, give yourself margin in between activities. And after you've worked on something very hard for an hour, stand up. Like you can do Brendon's Qigong and all the goofy stuff. I'm kidding, Brendon. But do something to move your body and just allow yourself to kind of recalibrate. A lot of us are so used to putting our heads down and we wonder why our back hurts. We've been hunched over for the last 18 months on our laptops. Check your posture, check your feet, check your movements, check your limbs, move them around, okay?
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.